Hello and welcome to Paramecia, a One Piece fancast where we review the latest chapter of One Piece and have a different One Piece related discussion every single week. My name is John.
My name is Franz.
And this week, oh man, so I
we're just gonna blow through it. Do you want to just straight go into it?
It's very apparent that Oda does not intend to stop the madness, and in fact intends to dive straight into it. So we're chapter 907, the Empty Throne.
We take the deep dive.
Yeah. First page, cover story. It's just I assume it's the end of the Olympus.
I mean, maybe he might do like one more thing, but he's just sitting there like in the sky, like he's in the sky, like saluting, crying, like thank you.
He's
for
giving
all
the big
help.
boss salute.
He is, dude. Olympus is big boss. There we go. Crack theory. Episode over.
Episode over, guys. Go home. No, I like it. Like he steals the fleet ships from the Standing Kingdom, and then like the king is like pissed at him, and then it seems like Olympus, from him like saluting and crying, it seems like he just doesn't get it. That's what I got. Like he doesn't get what's going on. Like he just like stole from them. He's like, man, it's been a good run, guys. And the king's like, dude, what the fuck? Like shoot him down.
It's either that or he's just entirely like a sociopath. Like he knows what's going on, but he's just like playing pretend, and he's just like, oh man, I'm crying here. Oh no.
Jesus. Oh my god. All right, so getting into the chapter, woo, buddy. I did not expect us to cut to Whole Cake Island this soon.
And what happens too? Like
yeah. So it cuts to Whole Cake Island, and Big Mom is talking to someone. She's like, "Are you kidding?" Or somebody's talking. He says, "Are you kidding? I refuse." And then Big Mom is like, "Look, it really doesn't have anything to do with you. It's just that I'm not one that takes. If I'm not the one to take Straw Hat's head, I'll be shamed forever. Plus, he has something he needs to return to me," which I assume she's talking about Zeus.
it has to be, or maybe she knows that they took the poneglyph thing. Probably not though. Most likely Zeus.
Yeah, to my knowledge, she doesn't know about the poneglyph rubbings.
Nobody does.
Because I think Brooke was secretive enough to like sneak those out. So she's probably talking about Zeus, which I mean, real quick, around the island you can see like some like the clouds and like some lightning. So like, do you think she made like another Zeus to like compensate, or I don't know.
I don't think that's the case. Like I don't know, man. Like she might just be pissed.
That's true. Zeus was like a special, like a big part of her soul. So
yeah, like for her to take another chunk of her soul out, I don't know, man.
Yeah. Regardless, the big bombshell on this page is Big Mom saying, "Besides, you still owe me one big time, Kaido." It's like Kaido's like, "No, that was in the past," and she's like, "No, nuh-uh, like that's a lifelong debt." And I'm just like, "What the fuck?" Like first page in, and we already get confirmation that Kaido and Big Mom not only know each other, but have like had some like something happened between they have a history together,
some connection, and I'll get into it a little bit. Like hold
we'll
on.
get into it a little bit later.
So Kaido on the next page, you see him like in full view, and he's essentially just like, "Oh, like he's mine. Fuck off. You come here. I'm killing you, Lin Lin." And then essentially it's just like Big Mom replies by saying like, "Oh, like whatever. Do your worst. Like I figured I should just let you know anyways. Like I'll be the one to kill the Straw Hat." And like she says, "Let's stay friendly on this, eh? Like good old times." And at this point, I'm the weird person. I was like, did they fuck?
every
Dude, like for a second, I thought like I legitimately thought that oh my god, the mammoth guy was like their son or some shit.
Oh my god. Well, he's Fishman, so I don't. Maybe he's Praline's brother.
Dude, I don't fucking know, man.
Jesus, yeah. This was the first I was like old times, like Jesus Christ, like they have a history. This was wild. The chapter moves on very quickly from that. We cut back to Grand Mac, and it turns out that the Navy has like wiretapped the Yonko, but then they even say like. They basically say like, "Oh, like they don't care if we wiretap them. Like they're so brazen about what they're doing. Like they don't give a shit if we hear."
And immediately after that, fucking Kizaru like asks Akainu, and he's like, "Yo, should I go?" And he's like, "No, hold up." Like, and Akainu brings up a good point in that the world government doesn't know the exact strength of the samurais of the Wano country, and so like that's the biggest reason why they're like, "No, we're holding back on this. Like they might fuck us up for real."
Even still. One of the Marine guys, they say on this page, they're like, the only thing that could stop this are the admirals or the Shishibukai. Like, that's it. Another translation I read, instead of writing Shishibukai, they wrote out warlords, like plural.
Oh, man.
Which to me was like, Like, the only people that could stop this are, like, all 3 of the admirals at the same time, maybe. Or all 7 of the warlords, maybe. Like, that's how I read it.
Honestly, I could see that being the case, because, like, fucking... We saw with, the arc that just happened, oh my god, Whole Cake Island, like, that entire arc was literally so many parties against the Big Mom Pirates, and she's still alive. That didn't matter.
Yeah, it's... Oh, man, it was wild. It was, even if we only saw him a little bit, it was good to see Kizaru.
Reminded that he's alive.
Yeah, just a reminder that, like, yeah, he's still here post-time skip, like, he's still an admiral. We then get another hard cut. This whole chapter, pacing was kind of, like, breakneck, but with the amount of lore we got dumped on us, I felt like it was... It worked in its favor. So we cut back to the Red Port, which was...
Where they took the gondolas? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's... The Navy is talking to Garp, and they're just like, are you serious? Like, Garp, they're after your grandson. And then Garp is like, yeah, that's hilarious.
And, like, everyone's just like, it's Big Mom and Kaido and your what? And, like, everyone's just yelling at Garp the entire time.
Yeah, everybody, Hina and then the other 2, which I'll just, really quick, I just want to say, super cool.
Deep cut no mi.
Yeah, this is the deep cut no mi. So these 2 characters that are talking, they're vice admirals, and it's the girl is Gion, and her codename is Momo Usagi, pink rabbit, and then the other guy is Chaton, and his name is Tokikake, I think, which is brown pig.
This is Franz real quick. While editing, I noticed that John got it accidentally backwards. His real name is Tokikake, and his alias is not Chaton, but it's Chaton. Cha meaning brown, ton meaning pig. It was just a very small thing that I figured I might as well clear up, but it's okay. The deep cut no mi has its limits, I guess.
These guys were in Film Gold, which is how I recognize them, but I looked a little bit deeper into it, and apparently they were in Film Gold as kind of like cameos, but their first like appearance was in an SBS for one of the volumes, volume 75. So I guess a fan like made up these 2 Marines. This was after the time skip, and this fan made up 2 Marines because there was 2 admiral spots that were open now because, you know, Aokiji left and then Akainu was promoted to fleet admiral. So a fan was like, oh, like, here's 2 codenames like that I think would be cool for admiral, like Pink Rabbit and Brown Pig. And I get Oda responded in the SBS like, oh, like, I think you have it wrong. He's like, the admiral positions are already filled. He's like, but he's like, I know for a fact that Momo Usagi and Tokikake are, or Chaton is the nickname, I think. He's like, I know for a fact that Momo Usagi and Chaton are vice admirals. And he kind of drew like little sketches of what they would look like. And then Film Gold happens and he puts them in the movie. And then now in this chapter, like, they're canon. And I just think it's really cool.
I want to interrupt real quick. I know that was the end of it, but like, I just want to point out that Doug Dimmadome's also apparently a fucking, like, he's a Marine. Because, like, in the same panel where everyone's yelling at Garp, you see this motherfucker just chewing on the side.
With the giant hat!
Like, it's huge. And then if you... the next page over, like, it doesn't go all the way to the ceiling or anything, but it, like, reaches up, like, almost, like, hits the fucking giant in the face, like...
I want an Oda box of just Marine Vice Admiral
Doug Dimmadome, owner of the Dimsdale Dimmadome.
Jesus. Yeah. No, I just thought that was really cool. But anyways, they're all yelling at Garp, just kind of like, Momo Usagi's like, are you kidding me? She's like, do you really just want to let 2 Yonko meet each other? And then Garp's like, what the fuck do you mean we're letting them? He's like, there's nothing we can do. We're at the Reverie and we have to act as royal bodyguards. Like, there's nothing else. We can't move our forces because all of our forces have to be here.
And then, like someone asked for, like, reasoning as to, like, oh, what did they say about, like, why we can't go? And then Momo Usagi answers, quoting, because the Wano country is not part of the World Government Alliance, they are outside of our jurisdiction. Ugh.
Yeah.
And Garp just cracks up. It's like, what?
Yeah, Garp is like, yeah, not messing with them right now is our best bet. And then this is where shit gets super interesting. So, Hina is like, but Garp, all this talk of Big Mom and Kaido, and then like ellipses, and then the next page, she's like, they're the reason you're called the hero of the Marines, aren't they? And then Garp is like, oh, locks, eh, Hina? You're well informed for someone as young as you. Yes, before Roger, it was their age. But that was more than 40 years ago now. The past has passed. And then Hina's like, even if they've lost their captain, they've only become stronger. I'm worried. And then Garp is like, there's no point worrying. If they return, they'll be a huge threat. This situation, though, will get far bigger than any of us are imagining right now. And then everyone's like, why are you smiling about that? So when I read this, I was really confused. I was confused because the other translation kind of muddied things up because it made it seem like, well, I don't know. I'm still kind of confused because they start off talking about Big Mom and Kaido teaming up.
Yeah.
And then Hina says, they are the reason you're called the hero of the Marines, aren't they? But at this point, I still don't know, like, is she talking about Big Mom and Kaido? Like, because, well, she starts all this talk about Big Mom and Kaido. So I'm assuming Locks is, like, some kind of pirate alliance they had, or, like, maybe, because he says before Roger, the age was theirs, in reference to Locks,
right,
whatever that is.
Tap me in real quick, because I think I have the answer.
Yeah, you're in.
So, Kaido and Big Mom were talking about, like, their history, and, like, I'd really like to imagine that they have never fucked, but Lord knows the internet's a very wide place. Nobody link us or anything, please don't. But the mention of this Locks character, it comes like, there's the mention of the Locks character, and then right next to that, it's like the age was theirs, and then also saying that like they lost their captain. I think the assumption's made that this Locks character used to be their captain, that they were both on the same like fleet or something.
Yeah.
They were both part of the same like pirate crew. But here's where it gets interesting. And I really hate going back to this because it sounds like the most tinfoil hat shit. So I revised my whole shit from last week. It's not Joy Boy. Because if you think about this, and I really hate this, Kaido is very big. Big Mom is very big. That hat, very big. So
Jesus Christ.
They're mentioning that before Roger, like the whole zeitgeist was this man, Locks. And I really can't picture these two giants, essentially. Like, we don't know if Kaido is specifically a giant or he's just some big ass motherfucker for no reason.
Yeah.
But I can't picture these two people following someone that is like the size of their foot, you know?
Yeah.
So I think whatever that large hat had to do with might be like Locks' body or some shit. Like, I don't know. One Piece has played with necromancy before. It can be like really weird sometimes. So I don't know, man. I'm pretty sure Locks was the captain and they were both under this Locks person. Locks was also a giant. That's about it.
Yeah, I don't know, because I don't know like who it is, obviously, but I really think that this Locks person might be the living legend or the lurking legend that that Oda teased for Wano Country, because at one of the at the Jump Festa, I think this past Jump Festa, Oda like came out and he was like, oh, like he was talking about like One Piece and the wrapping up.
He came out. Happy Pride. Oda came out.
Yeah, Happy Pride. Oda came out. Yeah, no. So he came out on stage and he was like, oh, like basically, I don't know if he came out on stage. I think it was like a pre-recorded video, but basically all he said was like, oh, like the conclusion of Whole Cake Island is ramping up for its conclusion. Like it's getting there. And then we're going to jump to Reverie and then Wano. And he started hyping up Wano a lot. And he said there's going to be a lot of things to see in Wano. And then he said there's going to be the reveal of a character from long ago, a lurking legend from the Whitebeard era. And I would assume that this Locks character might be that, only because it was before Roger was king of the pirates. Like, he says it was almost like 40-something years ago. And like 40-something years ago, Big Mom would have been like 20. And we know for a fact that Whitebeard became like a Yonko. Like he came into his own like power structure like before Big Mom, because the Ace book that just came out, shoutouts to Sandman, he's like one of the official translators for Viz for Oda, and like he does a whole bunch of official translations for One Piece, but he translated parts of the book, like all the chapters, and one of them is basically like I think it's Ben Beckman or somebody talking about, or maybe it's one of the characters on Ace's crew, I think, is talking about the Yonko, and they basically state that like out of all of the Yonko, Shanks and Kaido were like the newest additions to the Yonko. Like basically the timeline was Whitebeard, then Big Mom like shortly after, and then Yonko, and then Kaido and Shanks were kind of like around the same, and they're like almost the same age as well. So I don't know like if that tells you anything. But when I first read this page, my assumption was Lox was that, like, the lurking legend, and Lox was also, I did get that impression that Lox was also maybe their captain. Like, maybe Kaido and Big Mom in their early years were on the same crew, and then that's how it happened. But
yeah, only time will tell at this
Yeah.
point. Where we're at now in the chapter, it hard cuts again straight to back to Mary Joie, the Pangea Castle, and there, it's the craziest thing. A guard tells King Stelly, "Go Kingdom, the oath," and he's like, and immediately just like, "Can I sit on it?" And it's like, "No, you can't sit on it. No one can sit on it. It's the empty throne, you dumb bitch." And like, oh, like all the kings of the various countries make an oath to claim that they're equal because we can't like have the greed to rule them all, the greed of dictatorship. And on top of that, we start getting like a bunch more lore about this, in that 20 weapons protect the throne. They represent the oath that 800 years ago, the architects of this world, the first 20, took. They placed this place at the center of the world, which, with the fact that it cannot be sat upon, as a symbol of peace, just as the highest authorities of the world, who sit atop even the celestial dragons, are the five elders, so too shall this world not have but one king. And this entire time, King, like, Stelly's not even fucking listening. Cause like,
he's just like, I'm gonna sit my ass on that chair.
dude, and what you said earlier was so fucking perfect, because this is essentially some fucking Game of Thrones dumb shit.
This is some Game of Thrones shit, bro. That's as soon as I saw the empty throne and all the weapons, I was like, this is this is the Iron Throne, but like One Piece version. I think it's a really cool, it's a cool little piece of exposition we get about like the empty throne. I just like this scene. I like the part where they're like, just as the highest authorities of the world who sit atop the celestial dragon, so too shall this world not have but one king. And like, I think that this is like one of the reasons that like the world government is so like they wanted to kill Roger, basically, because like the world can't have, like, the world doesn't have like one king, and Roger was just like, I am the pirate king, like like,
Yeah,
it's probably not like, the verbatim exact reason, but I feel like that's kind of it plays a role in why they hated Roger.
Yeah.
Above everything else, it was like, at the end of the day, he was like, he acted as or in their minds, he acted as if he was the king of like all, like he, whatever.
Yeah, he really was like a whole force of chaos in front of them, and that was not something they liked, though he probably knew some shit on them, especially with like how much he knew about the Void Century. Like, yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not the entire reason why they hate him. They didn't hate him because they were like, oh, you called yourself a king? Fuck you.
I mean, you never know, man.
It wasn't that exactly, but oh man, yeah, no, this Stelly is just like, he is the comedic like cringe humor this entire arc. It's like, oh fuck, like what is he gonna do? Like,
he's Jar Jar Binks.
Stelly is the Jar Jar Binks of One Piece.
Of episode 3, he's gonna look the Emperor straight in the fucking eye and be like, you know what? Dictatorship's really cool. It's the same thing.
And then he's gonna zap him with.
You remember the whole like Darth Jar Jar theory?
We're not getting into this.
Welcome to Midichlorian, a Star Wars podcast.
Oh god, a Star Wars prequels fan cast.
No.
Fucking kill
okay,
me.
Give me the next cut. Give me the next cut.
All right, we then cut to the social plaza, the Pangea Castle mingling plaza, and we all knew it was gonna happen, but instantly we're just straight in the middle of Charlos like sicking his slaves on like to capture Shirahoshi, because he's like, oh, I want a mermaid, and Vivi and all of them are like freaking out, and everybody's like holding them back. So they're like, what the fuck? Like, he's a celestial dragon. You can't do this. And then I love Rebecca. Rebecca's like, why should I care? Like, let me go. And Sai is like, don't you know anything? He's like, if you anger him, like, Dressrosa will be destroyed, or all of Dressrosa could be destroyed. And all of the fishmen are just kind of like, everybody's just watching in horror. Like, even Wapol, like, like Wapol's like this evil like guy, but even he's like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't sign up for this shit. But oh man, yeah, and then we get like Charlos being like just a giant piece of shit. The other translation I read, I liked that one just a little bit more, because when the way they wrote his text, they made him sound stupid, which I appreciated.
Yeah, because he's a blubbering
He was like,
idiot.
I caught a big mermaid.
I mean, like, it's canon
She's
that
gonna
like,
be my pet.
all the Celestials are like completely and entirely inbred.
Yeah, basically.
So like it kind of makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense that he's fucking Stupid.
Man.
But oh, man, Shirahoshi's crying. I'm feeling bad over here reading it. Leo, boss as fuck. He's like, what the fuck? Like, I'm pissed that nobody's doing anything. Like, fuck y'all. So he runs in, and then Saya's like, God damn it. Like, now I gotta, like, fuck. Like, now I gotta work because Leo's my homie, so I gotta have his back. And then the last panel on this page is like a mysterious person kicking Saya in the face and grabbing Leo, like just full fisting Leo. And then when I turn the page, to my surprise, I see fucking CP0. Like, Rob Lucci, fucking Kaku, and Stussy, along with the guy with the mask whose name we still haven't gotten.
And I'm pissed. I'm really pissed. Because he's just sitting like, I want to know, can you show me?
Yeah.
Fuck. Anyways, Rob Lucci looking really good. Stussy's in her fucking, like, actual, like, work clothes and everything. Though, like...
Yeah, I like Stussy's costume.
I really do like the whole, like, switch. Like, Rob Lucci had, like, black suit and everything before. Now he's going, like, white on white, like, all white. Oof.
Yeah.
And his pigeon? Oof.
Oof. Absolute unit, his pigeon.
I do like to think that sometimes his pigeon is the one still talking.
Yeah, the ultimate headcanon. Rob Lucci's the one going, the pigeon is the one, you should thank us first. Yeah, no, Rob Lucci just appears, and he's like, Kaku's like, don't you guys know? Like, even kids know not to mess with celestial dragons. And then Rob Lucci goes on this whole tirade about, like, oh, like, they're the gods that created this world. Like, the wants of gods are to be yielded to him. Like, you know, basically, like, he's a god, and whatever he wants, he gets. And that shit pissed me off.
Yeah, Rob Lucci essentially is a entire, like, fucking... he's a bitch. Cool as fuck.
Like, he's cool, but I need to know what happened to him, like, during the time skip, or, like, after the events of Impel Down. Or not, Ine's Lobby, I don't know why I said Impel Down. But, I need to know what happened after that, because, like, even in Ine's Lobby, we got glimpses of him, like, kind of, like, going against protocol, because he was supposed to... All of CP9 was supposed to be under Spandam's thumb and nail. Like, whatever Spandam said, they were supposed to execute. You know, no questions asked. And we saw him in Ine's Lobby just kind of be like, towards the end, like, hey, like, fuck off, Spandam. Like, I'm gonna take care of this. And he just took control. And it's like, to see him now listening to someone that's even worse than Spandam, like, you know, more useless than Spandam, I'm just like, I don't know what his game plan is, because we haven't seen him at all, so I'm interested to see that. But
Dark Horse, he's completely, like, anarchistic and is, like, going all the way to the top. That would be some shit, but I doubt that.
Basically. Yeah, regardless, Vivi's like, oh, like, that doesn't make any sense, that's stupid. And then he's like, a god doesn't need to make sense. And this next part, like, Vivi is standing up to Rob Lucci. She's like, you know what, like, fuck you. Like, she's chest and chest to him. Like, you know, Vivi doesn't give a shit. And this next part got me in the fucking feels, dude. Like, King Neptune is just looking like a JoJo character with the like, the onomatopoeia.
King Neptune is Vivi's stand.
Basically. And so he says, like, thank you, like, I won't forget your kindness, but it's with a heavy heart that I must give up. And he's like, I'm gonna beat them to a pulp, and then we will return to the seafloor. If this is what the world above is like, I cannot bring my people here. And then Vivi's, like, pleading with him, like, crying, like, no, like, this isn't what it's like, this isn't what humans are like. And I just, like, man, like, the entire time after Fishman Island, like, all the shit the Fishmen have gone through, and after Fishman Island, like, Luffy and Jinbei, and, like, everything that happened, you know, they had hope. Like, they had this hope for the world. They're like, oh, like, maybe the world isn't, like, you know, maybe the world isn't as bad as we think. Like, maybe it isn't as terrible and racist as we think. And then for him to just see this horror happening before him, and there's nothing, quote unquote, that anybody can do. Just, like, man, just seeing Neptune kind of not regress, but, like, regress into just his old ways. Just like, well, fuck humans. Like, humans really are like this in the end. Like, nothing changed, so we won't change. Like, we'll just, like, we're better off without this. And I'm like, fuck. Like, you can pinpoint the moment my heart broke in two.
The entire time, he's, like, entirely at odds with, like, flashbacks of what Otohime was, like, saying. And at some point he says, like, forgive me, Otohime. And this entire thing is just him thinking about her and looking at fucking, like, Shirahoshi there on the ground and just being like, you can see exactly what's going through his mind, because he's just like, Otohime, what were you thinking? What gave humans such a special place in your heart, essentially? And
yeah,
like Rob Lucci's order to kill him. Like, oh man.
Yeah. It's even up to the end. He like when he says like forgive me Otohime, like like you said, he's remembering everything Otohime said, and through his mind he's probably like it's just like she gave everything in her life for this, and then like she gave everything in her life to push for the fishmen to live under the sun, like to live in the surface world.
Yeah, to come all the way out
like,
to Reverie and everything.
Yeah, it's for everybody to be happy, and then like basically to see like the people of the world above that she like admired so much, to see them in reference to like Rob Lucci and fuck ass basically like spitting all over this is like, man, that's like fuck. I can't even describe how he's beginning to feel, because that's so fucked up.
But then all our prayers are answered, and all you see is a speech bubble pointing at a club that goes oi. Charlos is like, huh? And then fucking swing batter swing. Charlos gets bodied. Dude, he gets decked. Like, flip to the next page, and the first thing you see is he flies like 20 fucking feet, and like everyone,
bro, and the shadow of the guy with the club is like his whole size.
Dude, everyone's freaking the fuck out, and like literally becomes a whole case of like, but she caught me in the camera, it wasn't me. Like everyone's just like, oh no, like what happened?
Everybody's freaking out because everyone's like, what the fuck? Like somebody just punched the celestial dragon, like somebody's gonna die. And then I love Wapol, like, none of this has anything to do with me, I wasn't involved, you hippos. And also Panda Man is in this panel at the top on page 15.
Oh, on the top of page 15. Ooh, I see
right
him.
Next to right to the right of Hippos. He's holding up like a peace sign, like looking at the camera.
Yep. Oh man, he's Panda Man's enjoying himself real quick. He's just like, yeah, fuck the establishment. Yeah.
Panda Man's anarchist as fuck. Yeah, no. So we get Celestial. Like this and the last page are so fucking good. Like, okay, so we get this guy and he's like, like. Heavy breathing. He's like, I'm so sorry. As a celestial dragon myself, I'm embarrassed. Please forgive me. And everyone's like, what the fuck? Like a celestial... At this point, it's like, all right, a celestial dragon just beat the shit out of Charlos. Who the fuck is this guy? Because every celestial we've known has been a giant shitlord like Charlos. And he's like, let go of the princess. And the slave, like, lets him go. And he's like, everybody, like, please accept my apology. A witless fool has polluted the mingling area with fear. And Rob Lucci, because we know the guy's a celestial dragon, Rob Lucci just isn't doing anything. He's just like, all right, well, like if this is what a god wants, whatever. And then things get interesting, because it's like, I do not think you remember me, Neptune, but I owe a great debt to you and the Ryukyu kingdom. I have waited long for this day, the day that you all came here. And Neptune's like surprised, like, could you be? And then we get the panel, and it's 10 years ago. Someone washed up on the shores of the Ryukyu kingdom, a foolish celestial dragon, me. And it was the guy in the Otohime flashback that was trying to get his slaves back, and he like crashed in Fishman Island, and he was like threatening to shoot the fisherman. He's like, oh, like, you know, save, like, I'm dying, save my life, you idiots. And then Otohime, like, the fishermen are about to kill him, and she gets in the way and like takes the bullets for him, or she takes like one bullet for him or something. And man, so this next part, we just get the full Otobox reveal of his face, and it's, the late Queen Otohime scolded and reformed me. She made me into a human. I want to support you all with everything I have. World Noble Celestial Dragon, Don Quixote Miosgard. Dude.
Like,
dude.
for him to be a Don Quixote is like already crazy enough. But like the fact that it was like actually a celestial dragon that like went through all of that for the fisherman, like, this is kind of wild, because we don't get this. The last time we got a celestial dragon that like made sense was coincidentally also Don Quixote. Don Quixote Homing, I think, was his name.
Yeah, Doflamingo's father, Homing, and then I would count Rocinante in there, because he was also like,
technically, yeah,
he was also good-hearted, yeah.
Man,
but yeah, like that's the first thing I thought of when I read this, because I was like, dude, he's part of the Don Quixote family, so somehow, some way, he has to be related to Doflamingo, but also to Homing. And it makes sense, because Homing was another celestial dragon we knew of that was actually like sane, or not sane, I guess is the wrong word to use. He was like rational, I guess, you know, like he didn't think like a celestial dragon like the ones we've seen. He was really like chill and down to earth, and he was really like a nice guy. At the end of the day, he was just a nice guy. And I mean, Homing got into like a shitty situation, but that's a whole nother.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing that John never wants to relive. But also, Homing probably was the one celestial dragon that looked the least inbred that I've seen, that I remember.
Yeah. Doflamingo's whole immediate family was the least inbred I've seen. Even this guy, I mean, when we first see him, that flashback panel is from like the Fishman Island flashback, and you could I mean, you know what it probably is just a subtle change in like Oda's like art style or whatever. But I also do think that he made a conscious effort to like really change this guy's like facial appearance, because he doesn't look like, he looks very like Celestial Dragon in the flashback page, and in this one he looks a lot more humanized. He looks a lot more like normal.
The eyebrows are different. That's a start, but
yeah, for sure. The eyebrows.
He started doing his eyebrows. Is what happened. That's what made him human.
Yeah, basically.
Detroit become human. There we go. we did it. We did it. Oda's David Cage.
We come full circle.
Finally.
Yeah. Oh my God. Oda is David Cage.
No God, I would never.
One Piece become human.
I'm so sorry, Oda. I would never legitimately say something that bad about you. Yeah, you can actually write, and I'd like to think you don't like fucking sexually molest your employees.
Jesus. Oh God. Yeah, I don't know. The reveal of Mjosgard being a Don Quixote, like a member of the Don Quixote family, is crazy to me. And I mean, I hope next chapter. I feel like next chapter we'll get more of him, like a continuation of him, and like we'll find out like what happened because we don't know what happened to Otohime when she came up to the surface. Like we know she went, and then in the same flashback on Fishman Island, like she came back like a week later or something like that. She came back later, and she was just like, oh, like they gave us this thing, and they gave us the ballot, and like we can sign it, the petition, and then we can move up to the surface. So hopefully we find out what's going on with him and Otohime, like what she did. And also hopefully, I still don't really like fully, like, okay, there's still a part of me that's like, well, he's still a celestial dragon, so I don't really trust him.
Yeah, to be honest.
So I don't want it to be a thing where he's doing all this for the long con, and he's just trying to get the fishmen to move to the surface so that it's easier for the Celestials to round them up as slaves.
Man, I really hope
that is like a mega crack theory, like long shot, but it also has legs. So
it has legs just on the fact that he's a celestial dragon. So
yeah.
I don't blame
So
you.
he's automatically like just a shit person, unless proven otherwise. Yeah, it feels cool. And then we get to the ending. Go ahead, just take it away, man.
After living all of that, we go immediately, like it's just been hard cut after hard cut this entire chapter, but the last one, inside Pangaea Castle, Chambers of Authority. And the first thing we see is like Odabok's highest world authority, the 5 elders. And there they are, just roaming through some paperwork. And
fucking Gorosei.
They're just, the whole conversation is buck wild because they're all going through and saying their shit, like, what is it that you want that prompted you to come all the way here? It is reverie. Given who you are, these politics are not for you. And mind you, they're addressing this like cloaked figure that is off to the side.
We don't immediately see who it is.
And so immediately, first thing we know is like, all right, they're not like a king person kind of thing. But the next line of dialogue, but given who you are, we will give you the time of day. And then this person replies, I see, thank you. So like, that's buck wild as is. Like, the 5 elders just let some fucking rando walk in? Like,
yeah, so some rando who has some kind of pull with the world is just there. He just barged into the 5 elders room and they're okay with it. So immediately, red flags. I'm like, who the fuck could this be?
And then the next panel, the figure sits down and the soldiers that are there are ordered out. They go like, Roger, yeah, and they walk out. And then last panel, done. It's fucking Shanks saying, I wish to talk to you about a certain pirate. And then the whole like hook for next week, like, why is he here? And it's like, bitch, I'd want to fucking know too.
Yeah, when I read that, why is he here? I was like, motherfucker, you know.
Like, don't ask me, fuck.
God damn, yeah. Shanks being at not only Merijois, but inside Pangaea Castle, inside like the headquarters of inside the chamber where the Gorosei are, like the highest ranking officials in the world, the ones who called the shot for the world government, like the Gorosei,
the gods above the gods.
Yeah, and I mean, we got the exposition this chapter when the empty throne, the guy was like, no, like even the Celestials are the gods, and above them are the 5 elder stars, like the Gorosei, like they're the ones who control everything. And it's like, bro, like, so Shanks has their respect. It's very clear that he has their respect.
Yeah, and like it's clear that it's not some kind of like crack theory ass like Shanks is heir to something or another. Like, no, we already have that with fucking Sabo. Like, we know this is gonna happen at some point in Reverie, that Sabo is gonna be like, turns out I'm alive, I'm the rightful heir, Stelly's a bitch. But
Yeah.
so it's none of that stuff. Like, is this respect out of him being a Yonko? Is this some, like, what is it? Why do they let him in?
Yeah, this entire scene has thrown me for a loop with Shanks, because I'm starting to question Shanks. Like,
For real, like,
because it's like we when you think about it, after all is said and done, all we know about Shanks is that he was like, yeah, happy, I like Luffy, because he was like he grew up in like, or he went to Luffy's island where Makino was. Like, he grew up on the island with Luffy. But it's like, other than that, we don't know anything about what he does in the world or what he does as a Yonko, like his stances on anything. And the fact that the Gorosei are like willing to grant him like their time, like with zero hostility.
Dude, I didn't want to say it, but say it.
Yeah, like, does he have a connection to the world government in some way? I'm not gonna. Part of me wants to go full crack theory and be like, is he a celestial dragon?
No.
But that can't be the case, because like, as soon as you leave Marriagewell, like, you're not, you're exiled basically. That's what happened with
the
Doflamingo.
Yeah, the other ones.
So it's like, does he have some kind of connection with the world government, or does he know something? He was with Roger. He was one of Roger's like cabin boys, so he has to know something about like the world. But fuck, man, I don't know. I'm not saying I don't trust Shanks, but it's like, what's your agenda, man?
Exactly. Like, it's so. What I'm really thinking about, what I'm focusing on, is the whole fact that Dragon is here. Sabo is here.
Yes.
Does Shanks know Sabo? Does Shanks know Dragon? Do they have good relationships with each other?
I have no idea. And then, yeah.
We don't know.
I have no idea. And then the whole last line, like, I want to talk to you about a certain pirate. Like,
Who?
Who is he talking about? Like,
Who?
yeah.
Such a lust for revenge. Who?
Yeah. Dude, like, my mind immediately jumps to Blackbeard, because the way he sounded, like, I wish to talk to you about a certain pirate. I doubt he would not be talking about Luffy.
No.
Because at the end of the day, like, all right, like, Luffy, yeah, has declared war with the world government, but Luffy is not like evil spirited, and Shanks is not one to like parent Luffy, in the sense that, like, he wouldn't come all the way here to the Gorosei to talk to them about Luffy, to be like, hey, like, cut my boy Luffy some slack, guys. Like, he's just chilling. He's a nice dude. Like, no, he wouldn't do that. And the Gorosei would be like, dude, fuck off.
Yeah, that's such a waste of their time. Like, what the hell?
Yeah. So the two places my mind jumped to was Blackbeard, or maybe whoever this Locks person is.
Mm-hmm.
Because, or whoever the captain of the Locks pirates, or whatever that thing is, that person. Because I think, like I said, I think that person is the lurking legend of the Whitebeard era that, like, Oda, like, hinted at. So he could be talking about that. Or it could be Blackbeard, because at the same time, Shanks did talk to Whitebeard before Ace got kidnapped or anything about Blackbeard. And he was like, look, you gotta watch out for this guy. Like, he joined your crew for 20 fucking years. He was in your crew or some dumb shit like that, like 21 years. And the only reason he was in your crew was to kill the guy to get the Yomi Yomi no Mi. And he warned Whitebeard, like, bro, you can't trust him. Like, he is dangerous. And, I mean, we know how that ended up turning out. But
damn, I didn't even think about that. That's a good point.
Yeah, because, I mean, everything that we've seen about Shanks, like the little we've seen him, we saw him at the end of Marineford, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he comes up and he stops the war. And that and this coming to the people, like the world government, the people who are in charge of, like, the world, basically. Like, he comes to them with no hostility to talk to them about a certain pirate. So I get the sense that Shanks is kind of like his own type of, like, peacekeeper. Like, he wants to keep a balance in the world. And so I feel like, coming to the Gorosei to talk about something is kind of like an olive branch kind of thing. Like, listen, like, regardless of how we feel about each other, like, you need to watch out for this pirate.
Yeah, like, he's essentially prostrating himself at this point, because, like, there's no good for him coming all the way here. This is more just, like, for everyone's good, like, completely preventive, if it really is the case of it being Blackbeard.
Yeah. Because, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, this saga that we're in is called Versus the Four Yonko. Like, the Versus 4 Yonko saga. And I don't... Okay, so in the beginning of this chapter, like, Kaido and Big Mom, they kind of set in stone that, like, all right, like, they're gonna if they're not gonna team up, they're definitely gonna fight because they want to fight Luffy. Like they want to kill Luffy. So if they don't team up, then they're definitely going to fight each other. But it's like all four of the Yonko, like out of all of the Yonko right now, Blackbeard is the one that like, again, he's had this weird unknown plan for like God knows how long. He doesn't care about the other Yonko, I feel. Like Big Mom and Kaido can really do whatever the fuck they want, and I don't think it affects Blackbeard because he's chugging along with whatever his plan is, and he doesn't care.
Dude, do you remember like way back when we were talking about like who's siding with what Yonko and like what Yonko are going like to duke it out? Like we've essentially come back to that where
it's
exactly. Fucking Kaido versus Big Mom, and I feel like this tracks. I'm like really buying into this now, where it's Shanks versus Blackbeard, and is this going to involve any of the supernovas? What supernovas are going to be on what side? It's a whole fucking... It's a mess.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful, beautiful mess.
Yeah, it is. Oh, it's great. Man, this chapter was really good. I know that the editors were... One of the editors, for the first time, like, said something that wasn't, like... That didn't sound stupidly fucking overhyped. He was like, oh, like... Referee's going to be a shorter arc, and the next 10 chapters are going to be, like, crammed with information, and you're going to have, like, at the end of the referee arc, you're going to have to read it again, because there's going to be, like, new insights that you won't have the first time reading it through. And I'm just like, motherfuck, like, I didn't think it was going to be this cram-packed, because this chapter we got so fucking much.
Dude, it's been absolutely crazy. Like, we haven't stopped. We still don't know what the hat is, and now we've got another fucking mystery on our hands. What do we fucking do, Scooby-Doo?
Oh my god.
Do you have anything else to say about this?
Scooby-Doo.
All right, everybody. We'll be back next week with chapter 908. Don't forget to follow us on social media. We are at ParameciaCast on Twitter, Paramecia Fancast on Facebook, and as usual, our episodes will first go up on Libsyn, and a few hours afterwards, it'll be up on YouTube. And just look us up, Paramecia Fancast, on YouTube. We will be like the only thing that shows up, we promise. Hopefully. I don't know that for sure. I'll check after. Anyways, have a great week. I want to die immediately after what John just said.
Red-haired Shanks is Shaggy.
Stop! You need to stop! We're done! Episode's over, you bitch!
Kaido is Fred.
Oh. Dark Horse. Big Mom is Velma.